Hello everybody and welcome to JGod Gaming. Today's video is going to be another subscriber breakdown that I typically do on the channel, where I actually take a subscriber's gameplay, give them a little bit of tips and tricks by breaking down some of their mistakes and pointing out some of the things they do really well. If you're interested in having your gameplay broken down, go ahead and make sure you check out the description below for more details. For this video I do have a like goal of 150 likes, so if you can help me out with that, it'd be very appreciated. If you do enjoy the video or any of the tips in it, go ahead and make sure you do click that like button and subscribe if you are new to the channel, and give you a kind of a quick update. I do Call of Duty news, in-game updates, as well as subscriber breakdowns like you're seeing today. I also do best class setup and tip videos, so if you're interested in any of that type of content along the way, go ahead and make sure you hit that subscribe button with notifications on. Let's go ahead and get into the breakdown. We're going to be breaking down 3 different subscribers gameplay. So hopefully you guys enjoy. If you have any feedback or questions, go ahead and leave it down in the comment section below. So the first subscriber we're going to be breaking down, we're going to be looking at this class setup, and I am going to be honest in saying this is probably one of the worst class setups I've had in one of these breakdowns. And the primary reason is not even the actual loadout when it comes to attachments or anything like that, because that's all personal preference. But the problem here is airborne with hustle. So let me go ahead and show you exactly what I mean. So right here you can see division overlap in the bottom. Airborne 2 already grants reload while sprinting. So basically you're wasting a basic training just to reload a little bit faster. At the end of the day, that's not a big deal. You can run extended mags, get a little bit smarter when you reload, and it fixes the problem. The player does a really good job of actually taking advantage of the airborne though. They are sprinting and they do come out firing first, kind of almost simultaneously as they aim down sight. And that's going to allow you to take advantage of that aiming down sight while sprinting. Obviously they do got that overlap, so pretty much they're only using it for the refill of the ammo. And he doesn't really get in a lot of positions where he gets into a position where he can quad feed. And that might be just because where he's running, it's just the pacing of the map. But there's a lot of times where you're going to lose out on a feed just by having a 32 ammo capacity on this weapon. In this next little scenario, he ends up having the opportunity to take out this guy on the left, but for whatever reason only focuses on the guy on the right, and gets sniped out. Since he is running that airborne, the thing to do probably would have been run through that sniper guy and hit fire him. He could have actually instantly melted that guy, because at that range it would have been a 3-shot kill. With the MP40, because it excels at that range, it has a 3-shot kill potential. He could have ran right through and then ended up wiping out the other guy, because he clearly had better gun skills than that guy. There's actually a couple different unintended consequences when you run the airborne division. One is you typically are running all the time, so you can get caught out of sprint. Even though you get that instantaneous bullet damage, you can hip fire. A lot of times they're in a better position, they're already aimed down sight. They're going to destroy you because their accuracy is just going to be that much more effective, since without aiming down sight, your bullet pattern could be a little bit crazy while you're sprinting. That's the first one. The second one you see happening right here is he's going to constantly flip the spawns. A lot of times when people run airborne, they have the habit of running around. You're going to see he made a complete lap. He went from the other spawn all the way to this side. He comes through, gets a little kill here, or at least his teammates do. And then now he's stuck flipping the spawns completely, and he's running all the way to the other side. And he's influencing this problem, and it allows it so that he ends up in a bad position on multiple occasions that lead to an easy death, like right here. A lot of times if he was already kind of positioned up, he's already made a full lap, he's in a bad position, trusting teammates in mid maybe, but at the end of the day he's just really in a bad position because the spawns continue to flip. Almost a constant problem is you're going to see that the spawns are flipping, and that's a consequence of actually running this class. You can see he's already starting to gonna flip the spawns. He's going a little deep in there, and he's gonna come all the way around. He's gonna chase his kill, and then after he kills these guys, if he would have, the spawns would have flipped again. So it's one of those issues that a lot of players deal with, especially if they're not really understanding how they should run around with the airborne division. It is one of those trickier, higher skilled divisions. You definitely have to have those lightning quick reflexes to get a lot of those kills done. So let me move on to the recommendations for this player. For one, I would say that maybe switch up the class a little bit, get rid of that hustle, because there's not really a point in this where it actually saved you, where you got a double or triple kill, reloaded super fast, then got that 3rd or 4th kill. It just doesn't happen in this clip. I don't know if it happens on a regular basis, but it definitely seems like a waste of a basic training if you're going to use that. And you could always swap it up if you like having the extra ammo, maybe switch to the extended mags and try out that class setup a little bit. You're running airborne, maybe you gotta reposition and think about how you're gonna navigate the map, because almost repeatedly you're flipping the spawns, which is bad for you and your team. Overall, you got really good gun skill. It seems like you're very accurate. You hit the bullets, you land the shots, you center really well. Even when you do hip fire, you do land pretty accurately, so your sensitivity seems on point. So those are some of the things I would recommend switching up immediately, and then kind of see how that goes, and let me know in the future video if you notice a difference at all. But I would definitely get rid of that hustle or change up airborne. If you still want to run around, use a different division. Either way, I would switch something, because you don't need overlap. It even warns you for a reason. So let's go ahead and get into the second gameplay. Also at this point, a quick reminder to hit that like button if you are enjoying the video, and make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. So the second gameplay is going to be a lot different. We're going to talk about a lot of different things, so let's go ahead and get into it. So the first thing we'll talk about is this class setup, and obviously I'm not a fan of requisitions. I don't think most of the community is a fan of requisitions just because it's an easy way to get streaks. But the biggest problem is we're playing TDM. In TDM, you should never, ever, ever run requisitions. It just doesn't work, especially for a player that doesn't easily average 36 to 40 kills. Let me go ahead and point out what I mean by that, why you need those 30 to 40 kills, because look at the streaks he needs. He needs 33 kills for paratroopers to get that 3,300 score. Obviously, you can get assists and stuff like that. He's not going to be getting much else because he's not calling in streaks. So it looks like maybe he just stuck on his shipment class setup. He probably plays shipment all the time and runs requisitions. Definitely not the player I enjoy playing against, just because it's kind of annoying to get killed off a streak because someone gets 3,600 from camping a flag and stuff like that. That's besides the point. I definitely would never ever run requisitions in team deathmatch. Ideally, I would just get away from it altogether and focus on actually getting better at the game, because requisitions is probably the crutchest perk in the game. So one of the biggest things I'd recommend doing is either switch to Ordnance or Blitzkrieg and just put on the lowest streaks and work on getting those. And ideally, you're going to get 4 or 5 streaks and then work up to 6, 7 streaks. Then you end up being 10, then 15, then 20, and you'll drop a V2 rocket someday. But the key is you got to start from 0 and work your way up. With requisitions, you're already all the way up, but your gun skill, your map awareness, your positioning, your class setup, everything else is failing you, but it's going to be hidden because you still get a ball turret gunner every single match for some people. I did want to focus on this sequence here because he comes through the spawn, which is a really good thing to do, especially when you have the suppressor. Obviously looking for a little bit of a flank kill. Then he comes around here and he ends up spotting a guy. He shoots the guy. And then he ends up getting the kill, and then he sees this guy over here and he's just spamming the trigger. Look at it, just spamming. He doesn't release it, drags it over, doesn't get any hit markers. That's one of those ones where you got to release it, make sure you get the center on, maybe stand up so you could strafe, but he was staying prone, missing every single shot there. So that's one of those ones where he's not getting really a lot of the aim assist. He's only getting half of it because he's not strafing or moving. Comes around, gets an easy kill there. But that's just one of the things I want to point out. You should never be just spamming the trigger like that. That's just bad accuracy, and it's not allowing you to recenter. And then at that point, you could have made yourself a harder target to hit because you could have been strafing. If the other enemy has a high caliber on, you go prone. Makes it really easy for them to get you a headshot. So a lot of times drop shotting this game can get you killed faster than doing anything else. So after watching the entire gameplay, what I noticed this player do a lot of is just non-stop running and running and running, and I think a problem has to do with that they don't really have a good familiarity with where the enemies are, and 90% of that has to do with no one on the team calling in a recon, nor this person calling in a recon. When you run that requisitions, you're giving up the chance to run recon just because you're not going to waste a low streak if you only get them once, right? So I understand that, but at the end of the day, if you would have ran Ordnance or Blitzkrieg, you probably would have got more kills and more streaks, just because you got several 4 streaks in this game. If you're running Blitzkrieg or Ordnance, you're really going to be able to get those recons, know where the enemies are, and then you're going to be able to position better. If you're going to be using a suppressor, it is very advantageous to know where everyone's at, because then you know which way to flank. And when you flank, no one's going to know where you're at if they don't have recons up. And most of the enemy team probably has the same strategy as you. They're going to be running requisitions because a lot of people run requisitions instead of focusing on getting better, and understanding that map awareness is huge in that process. So definitely switch things up, get those lower streaks on, and run with Ordnance or Blitzkrieg, and slowly elevate your gameplay that way. As far as accuracy goes, fairly accurate. Obviously had a little bit of missteps, but for the most part in the gameplay, pretty much when you aim at someone, you shoot them, you kill them, but it's just readjusting once you lock onto the target. I also thought the behaviors that you had related to pre-aiming and centering were fairly good. You aimed at the doorways the way you're supposed to. When you pre-aimed, coming around corners, you did a lot of good things with those habits. I would definitely recommend, like I said, to slow down a little bit. And that's pretty much it for this gameplay. If you guys got any additional questions or comments, make sure you leave that down in the comment section below. Let's get into the third gameplay. And again, I'm going to give you a quick reminder. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get into it. Overall, the subscribers gameplay was one that I'd say works pretty well. You got extended mag, rapid fire, and grip on MP40, which is still pretty good. And then you got armored with Ordnance, which will allow them to get the streaks, especially since they're running team deathmatch. Kind of that advice I was giving to the previous subscriber is making sense in this one. One of the first recommendations I'd make right off the bat is changing the save area to as small as possible. Right now they have it set as large as possible. Just trust me on this tip. It does go a long way in helping you actually keep your eyes at your crosshairs and the minimap at the same time. Just go into your settings, go to safe area, small as possible. Trust me. Right off the bat, I can tell this player already had good gun skill. You can see he lines up the shots. The one thing that I do see them make a mistake coming up right here, they're going to get in a gunfight. They do take some damage. Watch right here. Takes damage. And then he immediately jumps in mid, which is a bad sight line because he has no cover. So right there he ends up dying. No wonder. He could have probably killed that guy if he just happened to be already lined up on the guy and killed him. But at the end of the day, that was kind of a bad move. He probably could have gone back on top of those crates, wait to get the full health, and then re-engage knowing that it's going to be an even gunfight. Right here, just kind of a little bit of bad timing, but let's get into a couple other examples. The next thing this player does is actually pretty smart. You can see right here, he ends up killing his teammate, this guy, and then he runs out knowing that this guy is reloading, catches him off guard. Easy kill. The guy doesn't even have his gun up. Right there, he helps the teammate right there, stays on the head glitch. So a pretty good player overall. It looks like gameplay wise, gun skill wise, it looks like his position right. It looks like he's preparing for the spawns to flip. You can see it's just a little bit of bad centering there. Definitely could have stayed on the head glitch too. If he would have stuck to the head glitch, he would have been right on the opposite side, give himself a little bit of cover and not made it so easy for his enemy to kill him. Right here he gets an easy kill. But it's really nice to see when people really understand the map awareness part. You could see the second he turns around, it's almost exactly like when the spawns flip. All his teammates are in front of him, has that awareness, just a little bit of bad timing on that end. So after watching this sequence a couple times, what could have actually helped him in this scenario is doing what a lot of people refer to as YY or triangle. And what happens is when you do YY or triangle, it tricks the game into stopping the reload animation, puts the weapon halfway away and brings it back out, and you'll have whatever ammo it was. So this is great when you get caught off guard in the middle of a reload animation and you actually have ammo, which is the scenario that we just witnessed. He still had about 20 or 30 bullets left. It was just really a matter of bad timing, and that doing that little YY triangle trick will allow you to do it a lot quicker than a reload, because it's almost instantaneously, versus a reload animation is going to take that 1, 2, or even 3 seconds depending on the weapon type. This player makes another smart map awareness play right here. You can see where his teammates are. They're kind of all at mid. He sees a vacant spot right here. He realizes he spawned dockside. At least this is what I'm thinking he thought. And then he knows someone's in this corner. So he's just kind of waiting it out, positioning. And it turns out this guy has mountain. He ends up taking that guy out. Kind of centered at that little walkway right there where people can walk through. Pretty much lined up on the shot, takes the guy out pretty quickly. So another smart play right there, and that's always a good habit to have. Regain those spawns, clear out the spawn, make sure that your back is pretty secure. So this next sequence that's coming up is probably one of the worst things the player did the entire time, which is really just engaging a gunfight that they really didn't need to be engaging, and then continue to hold that trigger for way too long. You see, he pretty much missed almost every shot there. The other option would have been even to close the gap even further. They're backing up, so they're giving the advantage to that rifle. So I would have probably pushed up a little bit tighter, pushed up to the right where those barrels are, make yourself a little bit harder target to hit. So to wrap it up, obviously the gameplay that we just saw right now is pretty high IQ player. They've probably been watching for a little bit, or have a good idea of how maps and rotations and all that type of stuff works, where they're positioning themselves the right way. Definitely fix that HUD. It will be a game changer for you. Just trust me on that. And then as far as just being consistent as possible, there's a lot of elements in this game to be consistent with, and it makes it very difficult to be consistent with everything. So it's just going to take a little bit more practice, choosing the right gunfights, positioning, all that stuff. It looks like you're coming a long way as far as being a really good player. Went 22-10, definitely not a bad match. If you guys did enjoy the video or found any of the tips helpful, remember to hit that like button. I do have a goal of 150 likes. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. Turn notifications on. We'll see you guys all in the next one. Thank you for watching. As always, have a great day.